Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of the GT Power Series revival. I finally got to ride this bike today, but I'm doing the voiceover now instead of while riding because, well, I had to wear a mask and a full face helmet, so the audio would have sucked, to be honest. The first thing you may notice is the rear brake has changed, so I'm going to bring you guys in and talk a little bit about that. So as you can see, I'm now running a cantilever brake. So that means that there is a clamp around the C-tube that then holds whatever this is called, and then that goes to a cantilever brake. The reason for that is these brakes actually bow open a lot, whereas the V-brake, focus, come on. The V-brake doesn't bow open that much, so the canti goes a little bit like this, whereas the V-brake is kind of straight, and this part was hitting the tire. Because the mount doesn't move along with the rear wheel as you tension the chain. And my tire is too wide to put it further forwards. So a cantilever brake is apparently the solution. I gave up on trying to fix these. So the bike shop I originally bought this bike from 19 years ago actually went through a lot of trouble to get this setup working. And it's not perfect, but it works. So that's enough for me because the V-brake just didn't work at all. And luckily this setup does work. So let's actually go to Pumptrack Antwerp to ride this bike a little bit. They often say whatever is like riding a bike, meaning that you don't forget how you do it. The thing is, when you go on a bike you haven't ridden for at least 10 years and you've grown a lot since you last rode the bike, it's actually really strange to hop back on your BMX bike. The weirdest thing wasn't really the dimensions of it, but it was actually just the position on the bike. I'm just going to quickly hop in here. To say I struggled with the position on this bike is a bit of an understatement. Look at the difference between the bike I'm used to riding and my BMX bike. I had them rear axles aligned, so as you can see the front wheel, the furthest point of it only lines up with the front axle. So it's, 14.5 inches longer on the front and another, 10 inches longer in the rear. The handlebars are 18 centimeters lower and the bottom bracket is actually slightly higher. So instead of riding like this, I'm now riding like this. And that's something I really struggle with, but back to riding. Throughout the day, my confidence grew a little bit, but because my wrist is still a little bit sore from last month's riding, I decided to not try and gap all these doubles. Instead, I wanted to mainly focus on keeping both wheels on the ground at all times. Because what I really struggled with is the front wheel coming off of the backside of a roller and losing me a lot of time. So that's something I actively tried to work on in this little session. Of course, it's easier said than done, so I tried and tried again. And the main thing I noticed is that I'm incredibly unfit. Like, I know I'm a bit of a chunky boy at the moment, but my God, this is just leg destroying. It's basically jumping up a 1 meter high, whatever you're trying to jump up, and then pushing down on the downslope of the roller. So it's incredibly tiring. And remember that rear brake that I and the bike shop spent so many hours trying to fix? Well, it turns out I don't actually use it at all on a pump track because you pump to gain speed, but you can also counter pump to lose speed. So maybe that was a lot of wasted effort. However, once I do decide to finally start jumping the bike again and I land a little bit too rear heavy or with the nose up a little bit too much, it's going to be very reassuring to have a rear brake. Anyway, for me, being able to ride my old BMX bike, the bike I drooled over in the bike shop as a little kid, and then I finally got to own later and spent years and years, best days of my life riding my BMX bike, it's just amazing to have the bike back. So I'm really happy, and I would really like to know if you guys have a bike like this, something that is financially stupid to spend this much time and money on, but that you really love to ride. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.